Article 300.5a Exception 2 of the National Electrical Code addresses specific conditions for underground installations, particularly concerning the separation of conductors and raceways. This exception permits each phase conductor, the grounded conductor, and the equipment grounding conductor of a three-phase, four-wire with ground service, often abbreviated as 3PH4WNG, to be installed in separate polyvinyl chloride or PVC conduits underground. However, this allowance is contingent upon meeting several critical requirements. It's essential to understand these requirements to ensure compliance with the NEC and maintain a safe and effective electrical installation. The first requirement is that the conductors must be installed in a raceway system specifically designed for housing conductors and providing physical protection. This means the PVC conduit used must be of a type listed and suitable for underground use, able to withstand the environmental conditions and physical stresses present in an underground environment. The conduit must maintain its integrity to safeguard the conductors within. Secondly, the raceway system must be installed according to the general requirements outlined in Article 300 of the NEC. This article covers a broad range of considerations for wiring methods and materials, including securing and supporting the conduit, proper burial depth, protection from physical damage, and sealing requirements. The specific requirements of Article 300 ensure the overall integrity and safety of the raceway system. The third condition focuses on conductor sizing. The conductors within the separate conduits must be sized appropriately, adhering to the guidelines in Article 310 of the NEC. Article 310 provides tables and calculation methods for determining the ampacity of conductors based on factors such as insulation type, ambient temperature, and the number of conductors in a raceway. Proper conductor sizing is crucial to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. Finally, the equipment grounding conductor must be installed in accordance with the rules specified in Article 250 of the NEC. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding requirements to establish a low impedance path for fault current, ensuring the effective operation of overcurrent protective devices and minimizing the risk of electric shock. This includes proper sizing of the grounding conductor based on the size of the ungrounded conductors, as well as proper connection and termination methods. Understanding Article 300.3 bone is essential. This section generally requires all circuit conductors, including the grounded conductor and equipment grounding conductor, to be installed together in the same raceway or cable. This requirement is primarily to minimize impedance and reduce the risk of inductive heating, especially in alternating current circuits. However, Article 300.5a Exception 2 provides a specific exception to this rule for underground installations, allowing conductors to be run in separate conduits under certain conditions. The reasoning behind allowing separate conduits in this specific underground scenario often involves practical considerations and a different set of environmental factors compared to above-ground installations. For example, in underground applications, the earth itself can provide a degree of heat dissipation and physical protection, mitigating some of the risks associated with separating conductors. Article 300.20b addresses the concerns related to induced currents in metal enclosures or raceways. When alternating current flows through a conductor, it creates a magnetic field around the conductor. If the conductor is installed in a ferromagnetic raceway, such as steel conduit, this magnetic field can induce circulating currents in the raceway. These circulating currents can cause the raceway to heat up, potentially leading to energy losses and even insulation damage. To mitigate this risk, Article 300.20b generally requires all circuit conductors, including the grounded conductor, to be installed together in the same raceway. By installing all conductors together, the magnetic fields tend to cancel each other out, reducing or eliminating the induced currents in the raceway. However, when using non-metallic raceways like PVC conduit, induced currents are not a significant concern because PVC is not a ferromagnetic material. Therefore, the exception in Article 300.5a Exception 2 allows conductors to be run in separate PVC conduits without the same risk of induced heating. Article 310.4 pertains to conductors in parallel. When conductors are run in parallel, meaning multiple conductors are used to carry the same current for a single phase or neutral. Specific requirements must be met to ensure proper load sharing and prevent overheating. These requirements typically involve ensuring that the parallel conductors are of the same material, same size, same length, and have the same insulation type. Additionally, they must be terminated in the same manner. The purpose of these requirements is to ensure that the current is evenly distributed among the parallel conductors. If the conductors are not properly matched or terminated, one conductor may carry more current than the others, leading to overheating and potential failure. In the context of Article 300.5a Exception 2, the conductors in each separate PVC conduit are not considered to be in parallel because they are not carrying the same current for a single phase or neutral. Instead, each conduit contains a single-phase conductor, the neutral conductor, or the equipment grounding conductor. Therefore, the requirements of Article 310.4 do not directly apply in this situation. Finally, Article 250.122 provides guidance on the sizing of equipment grounding conductors. The size of the equipment grounding conductor is determined based on the size of the overcurrent protective device protecting the circuit. Table 250.122 in the NEC provides a list of minimum equipment grounding conductor sizes for various overcurrent device ratings. The equipment grounding conductor must be properly sized to ensure that it can safely carry fault current back to the source, allowing the overcurrent protective device to trip and clear the fault. In the context of Article 300.5a Exception 2, the equipment grounding conductor in each separate PVC conduit must be sized according to Article 250.122, based on the overcurrent protection for the circuit. This ensures that the equipment grounding conductor can effectively perform its function of providing a low impedance path for fault current, even when run in a separate conduit. In summary, Article 300.5a Exception 2 allows for the separation of phase, neutral, and equipment grounding conductors in separate PVC conduits for underground installations, provided that the conductors are installed in a listed raceway system. The raceway system is installed according to Article 300, the conductors are sized according to Article 310, and the equipment grounding conductor is sized according to Article 250.122. Understanding these requirements is crucial for ensuring compliance with the NEC and maintaining a safe and reliable electrical installation. It's also important to consult with local electrical inspectors and engineers to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations in the specific jurisdiction. Consider an example to illustrate the application of Article 300.5a Exception 2. Suppose a commercial building is being constructed, and the electrical service is being installed underground. The service is a 480 volts 3-phase 4-wire with ground system. The design engineers decide to run the phase conductors, neutral conductor, and equipment grounding conductor in separate PVC conduits underground, taking advantage of the exception in Article 300.5a Exception 2. To ensure compliance with the NEC, the electrical contractor must carefully follow all applicable requirements. Firstly, the contractor selects PVC conduit listed for underground use, ensuring that it can withstand the environmental conditions and physical stresses present underground. The contractor also verifies that the conduit is of sufficient size to accommodate the conductors being installed. Secondly, the contractor installs the PVC conduit system according to the requirements of Article 300. This includes ensuring that the conduit is buried at the proper depth, typically at least 18 inches below grade, to protect it from physical damage. The contractor also properly supports and secures the conduit, using appropriate straps and hangers to prevent it from shifting or settling over time. Additionally, the contractor seals the ends of the conduit to prevent moisture and debris from entering the system. Thirdly, the contractor sizes the conductors according to the requirements of Article 310. This involves calculating the ampacity of the conductors based on the load requirements of the building, the ambient temperature, and the number of conductors in each conduit. The contractor selects conductors with an appropriate insulation type and temperature rating for underground use. Fourthly, the contractor sizes the equipment grounding conductor according to the requirements of Article 250.122, based on the overcurrent protection for the service. The contractor ensures that the equipment grounding conductor is properly connected to the grounding electrode system, establishing a low impedance path for fault current. Throughout the installation process, the electrical contractor consults with the local electrical inspector to ensure that the work meets all applicable codes and regulations. The inspector verifies that the materials and methods used are in compliance with the NEC and that the installation is safe and reliable. By carefully following these steps, the electrical contractor can successfully install the underground electrical service using separate PVC conduits, in accordance with Article 300.5a Exception 2 of the NEC. This approach can provide several advantages such as easier installation, reduced material costs, and improved flexibility in routing conductors. However, it's essential to ensure that all applicable requirements are met to maintain the safety and reliability of the electrical system. It's also important to note that while Article 300.5a Exception 2 allows for the separation of conductors in separate conduits, it does not require it. In some cases, it may be more practical or cost-effective to install all conductors in a single conduit. The decision of whether to use separate conduits or single conduit should be based on a careful evaluation of the specific circumstances of the installation, taking into account factors such as cost, ease of installation, and code compliance. Moreover, understanding the differences between grounded and grounding conductors is paramount. The grounded conductor, often referred to as the neutral, carries current under normal operating conditions, providing a return path for the current to the source. It is intentionally connected to ground at the service entrance. On the other hand, the equipment grounding conductor does not carry current under normal operating conditions. Its primary purpose is to provide a low impedance path for fault current in the event of a ground fault. It connects the non-current carrying metal parts of equipment to the grounding electrode system, ensuring that fault current can flow back to the source, causing the overcurrent protective device to trip and clear the fault. The NEC has specific requirements for the identification and installation of grounded and grounding conductors. Grounded conductors must be identified by a continuous white or grey color, while equipment grounding conductors must be identified by a continuous green color or green color with one or more yellow stripes. These color coding requirements help to ensure that electricians can easily distinguish between grounded and grounding conductors, preventing miswiring and potential safety hazards. Additionally, the NEC specifies different types of equipment grounding conductors, such as wire-type equipment grounding conductors, raceway-type equipment grounding conductors, and equipment grounding conductors derived from separately derived systems. Each type of equipment grounding conductor has specific installation requirements to ensure its effectiveness in providing a lower impedance path for fault current. In addition to understanding the specific requirements of Article 300.5a Exception 2, it's also important to be aware of other related NEC articles that may apply to underground electrical installations. For example, Article 314 covers outlet boxes, device boxes, and pull boxes, which are commonly used in underground installations to provide access to conductors and wiring devices. Article 334 covers non-metallic sheath cable, which may be used for underground wiring in some applications. Article 340 covers underground feeder and branch circuit cable, which is specifically designed for underground installations. Article 392 covers cable trays, which may be used to support underground cables in certain situations. By being familiar with these and other related NEC articles, electricians and electrical contractors can ensure that their underground electrical installations meet all applicable codes and regulations, providing a safe and reliable electrical system for the building or facility. Finally, always consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments before beginning any electrical work. The NEC is a complex and constantly evolving document, and it's essential to stay up to date on the latest requirements to ensure compliance and safety. Local amendments may also add or modify the NEC requirements to address specific local conditions or concerns. By staying informed and consulting with qualified electrical professionals, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, reliable, and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations.